welcome back to All Things Lord of the Rings with your host Alex, also known as Solinus Dracone. Back from the break we took last week to recap where we've been and what we've come to, on with the story. So, when Beren and Felagund got caught out by Sauron and thrown into the dungeon, Luthien felt it. She went to ask her mom, Melian, about it, and Melian told her what the score was. Luthien knew that there wouldn't be a single other person on the planet who would be able to help Beren, so she decided she was going to go after him. The mistake she made, however, was in asking Daeron the Bard for help. As I mentioned, Daeron the Bard was also in love with Luthien himself, and there was no way he was going to actually help her get another man, so he ratted her plan out to Thingol. Now, Thingol was legit shocked at Luthien's desire to leave and go help, and he definitely wanted to keep her from going. But he loved his daughter enough to know that shutting her away completely from being able to see the stars in the sky would be bad for her. So he had a massive treehouse made for her and stuck her in there, and put some guards around it. She got brought everything she needed and all the luxuries Papa could give, but she was definitely under house arrest. Now, I haven't mentioned it yet, but it should be pretty obvious that Luthien, being the daughter of one of the OG Elven kings and Amaya, had some mad skills of her own. She was damn good at enchantment and sorcery. What she did was she grew her hair out super long and made a cloak out of it, and a rope. The cloak had enchantments upon it to shadow her from the world and also to put people around her to sleep. The rope had a bit of the sleep enchantment on it too. So, predictably, she let herself out and fled from Doriath to go save her beloved. Now, at about this time, Celegorm and Curufin were out on the hunt, because Sauron was of the habit of sending his werewolves out into the borderlands surrounding Doriath, outside the Girdle of Melian. They had with them a hunting hound named Huan. This was no ordinary dog. Huan was one of the hounds of Orome the Hunter, and was born in Valinor. Orome gave him as a gift to Celegorm back in the days before the Oath, because apparently Celegorm was into hunting. Huan was a faithful doggo, and he followed Celegorm into exile, inheriting all that the Doom of Mandos had to do with that. Mainly, it was foretold that he was definitely going to die, but that it would not be before he met the mightiest wolf that ever walked the world. Anyhow, Huan found Luthien hiding out in the trees west of Doriath, because he could sniff anything out and see through enchantments and shit, and brought her to Celegorm. Luthien, perhaps not aware of the whole Doom of Mandos thing, was glad she met him, because here was an older prince and a known enemy of Morgoth. Surely he would help her out. Celegorm took a good look at her, thought nice to himself, and was all, "Oh yeah, absolutely, I'll help you out with your quest, no problem. Come back with me to Nargothrond." Now, we all knew Celegorm knew about Beren's quest by this point, because Beren came to Nargothrond and told about it. But Celegorm wasn't going to let Luthien know that. Soon as they got back, "Ha! Gotcha, bitch!" and they locked her up and took away her cloak. Now, please understand something. While Celegorm was a son of Fëanor and thusly was all mentally screwed up because of the Oath and the Doom and all that, he wasn't a complete dumbass. He knew that the Seven Brothers didn't stand a chance at getting the Silmarils back on their own, not without a greater unity of the elves in Beleriand, a unity that the Sons of Fëanor, logically, should be at the head of. He also reckoned that Felagund was probably going to die anyway, so his plan was to write to Thingol and basically force him to give Luthien's hand in marriage to him. Orodreth, Felagund's brother, who was in charge at Nargothrond, couldn't really do much about it because Celegorm and Curufin had already swayed the hearts of the people of that kingdom. So messengers were sent out to Doriath to enact the plan. Huan, however, was a good boy. He was an intelligent doggo, and he felt a deep loyalty to Luthien from the moment they met. He would hang out outside of her door while she was imprisoned, feeling, perhaps rightly, that evil had come to Nargothrond. She was grateful for the company, and would talk to Huan through the door, and he understood her because he was smart like that. He could even speak, but some kind of curse or blessing or spell or whatever upon which his existence hinged made it so that he could only speak 3 times in his life before he died. He burnt his first chat on informing Luthien of a plan he had for getting her out of Nargothrond. He brought her the cloak, and then let her out of the place. Then, like the goodest boy, he humbled himself to let her ride on his back, and so they were off. Now, back up in Dorthonion, in Sauron's dungeon, Beren and Felagund's turn to be eaten was coming up. All the other 10 people who came with them were wolf chow by this point, and Sauron wanted to save Finrod for last because he was obviously a powerful Noldor lord, and was therefore the most valuable of his prisoners. So, the werewolf came for Beren, but at the last second, the Felagund hulked out and broke his chains and killed the werewolf with his own fists and teeth. Unfortunately, he didn't exactly make it through the battle, and as he lay there, mortally wounded, he gave his last words to Beren. I go now to my long rest in the timeless halls beyond the seas and the mountains of Aman. It will be long ere I am seen among the Noldor again, and it may be that we shall not meet a second time in death or life, for the fate of our kindreds are apart. Farewell. And thus ended the life of Finrod Felagund, son of Finarfin, the most beloved of the House of Finwë. To end this episode, I'll give a little bit of context to his final words, because you guys deserve that. One detail about the immortality of elves that I didn't cover was that just because they died didn't mean they were gone. See, the Halls of Mandos were basically afterlife for the elves. The spirits of dead elves went back there, and after a bit of time served cleansing their souls of whatever sins, they would be given back their bodies and come back to life, but they could never leave Valinor again. Think of it as a bit of a purgatory before their return to glory in heaven. The fate of humans, however, remained a mystery to all. That's a really important bit of information that I left completely out of any description of elves that I've given, but it's going to be relevant again in the future, because there are a couple exceptions to the not being allowed back out of Valinor rule. And that's going to be where we cut it for now, folks. I want to thank everybody for watching. Once again, I am Alex, also known as Solanus Dracone, and this has been All Things Lord of the Rings. Goodbye.